right now, and I hope I hope everything is working now. And yeah, somehow Irene is not with us. It's okay. We will start our conversation. Jen, thank you very much for joining.
Pleasure.
Yeah, happy to discuss with you, and hopefully, oh, Irene, that's perfect timing because we actually started already. Welcome to conversation, Irene.
Hi,
Hi.
welcome. Sorry, I was with the client.
Yeah,
Jen,
it's
you
okay.
look brighter and brighter anytime.
Yeah, we have a very simple format. We are just discussing and talking, so no worries. Today's talk about finding your strength and talking about leadership in crisis. So if it's okay with you, I'm gonna just jump straight into the topic. So what do you think is the main issue or main problem with the leadership going on, like at least what you personally discovered during this particular crisis? So who wants to start?
I could.
Okay, perfect, Jen.
The common theme I've noticed, because pe- people are in quite different situations, is there is the need to actually take care of oneself so you can take care of other people, both your family and your team.
Hmm.
And to
So,
also
mhm,
expect that, again, your team are affected in completely different ways by having to work remotely and the major uncertainty of what's going to happen in the world, and how do we find a new way of working together.
mhm, mhm. Okay, Irene, what's your experience? What do you think is the at least you would point as a main problem with leadership you witnessed?
I can totally second what just Jen said and add something more like I see some of them reacting instead of responding based on fear, confusion, and the need to get things done, even without having sometimes a clear strategy. And this is quite normal because we experienced the lockdown that was is happened for all of us sudden so quickly. We didn't have time to digest all the process in the beginning. Now things are a little bit different, but there is still this fear for uncertainty.
Hmm. So yeah, if I summarize, Jen mentioned the problem is related to taking care of yourself before you will be really efficiently leading others, and Irene, you pointed out that uh, reacting, not acting, and having actually like a no clear strategy, but being under pressure of delivering results, and that's what's happening in this particular situation. Okay, and well, if you would analyze, if you would give some examples, maybe from your personal experience or maybe your client's experience, um, uh, what do you think? What actually works? I mean, what is the strategy you discovered personally, maybe, or discovered with your client, which can be deployed in this critical situation for leadership?
I think one thing, and it sounds a real cliche, but it's true, is recognize you may not be able to do as much as you did before, and acknowledge that rather than beat yourself up about it. The second thing is to take baby steps. So you might not be able to come up with great ideas all at once, but realize coming up with an idea that you can then brainstorm around with your team, for instance, is better than having no ideas whatsoever. Or perhaps, yes, a lot of clients have really thought how they can make the most of the current situation when there could be pressures from a number of different directions. Say killing 5 birds with 1 stone, say particularly for people with small children who are now home 24/7 instead of at a nursery. Go out, well, particularly with babies, say go out for a walk, get some fresh air, connect with nature, be able to have some thinking time, notice what's going around, and also getting some exercise and get out of the house, because I think most places now you're not confined 100% of the time unless it's food or medicine or exercise on your own. And little things like that can be very lifting.
Yeah. But the main thing, as you started, one of the things which you mentioned in the beginning is that to acknowledge the fact that you maybe not be able to do as much as you used to. And yeah, some people are working a lot. I talk with some of my clients and they say they work much more than they used to. I mean, they're very, very, very busy. By the way, it's not necessarily, it doesn't mean they do more, but they are definitely busier, that's for sure. And taking baby steps, okay, and taking care of yourself, yeah, that sounds
and the
like a
third
very
thing is
possible.
to think, don't let it just feel as though it is work all day, but really focus on the times when you can work without distraction and interruption, and then do something so you feel as though I'm putting my work to bed now, I'm having some either family time or me time, but don't just feel as though you're on work call from, first thing in the morning till midnight or whatever. And I think that's particularly important for people with families and young children. Fair enough if you're single and you haven't, you can't do most of the things you would have done socially. But even then, I would say, are you a machine? What about exercise?
Irene, what's your take on it? Yeah.
Oh, well, I can talk about a client that in the beginning of the quarantine that in Italy began a little bit earlier than many European countries. And he was really confused, a puzzle of what I have to do, because he had to organize the recruiting part as a broker of the estate agency. He also worked for a corporation, so he have to, in the end of the year, he had to have a certain number of newcomer. You have to have a certain amount of money gained. You have to have all these things. And in the beginning, he found himself completely destroyed by the fact that he cannot accomplish all these goals. And so he speaks about with me and speaks about his problem. And I told him, now with this emotional condition, you cannot make a right choice. And just take a break. And just about second what John said, that you take care of yourself for a while, And when you feel really focused on inspired from this energy that you want really to deliver this contribution and really follow the goals of the company, write down something and just share the idea with your um, team. Most of the team member, they were experienced the same problems, and but there was one that was incredibly creative and innovative. So we have another talk with this broker, and I told him why you don't choose him as team leader, and he can be your right hand. They have a talk, and he find that was an incredible resource, because despite the lockdown, he found a solution to work smart, but not in the sense just work remotely, but working in a way that they can have income despite the situation. And
Yeah.
these create a new structure for the entire agency. So sometimes one of the things is not only self-care, but also delegate. Delegate to the right people and ask for help, because
Yeah.
we are not machines.
Mhm.
Sometimes when we work together, we can find different solutions, much more than when we think just by our own selves.
Precisely. Thank you, Irene. I agree with you because during my multiple talks about different directions here in this particular settings, like let's talk it through. I remember several times we discussed some productivity kind of points, how to be productive, and exactly as you said, very often it is about slowing down. It is about experimenting and trying new things and see what works, what doesn't. I mean, because really nobody has ready to take in kind of solution, and it's all new for us. And but people who are open to try new things and experiment, as you said, some people are taking, these changes are easier than others. Some people are more creative. Some people. So if you have a team and you are open to try new things, I think the recovery time would be much shorter, and maybe even have some, you could discover some advantages of that situation in comparison to previous strategies. Okay, so in terms of leadership, what would be your recipe, like number one thing you would do personally if you discover yourself in a crisis and you discover that you don't feel confident enough to lead? So, like a number one, Jen, what would you do?
I think it goes back to the self-care. And again, building on what Irene has said, unless you're feeling incredibly unwell, in which case, or just not, you need a day or two to yourself, say you're ill. But thinking more positively, it's really hard to come up with all the answers yourself. And as Irene has said, make use of the team you lead. Ask them for their ideas,
Mm-hmm.
and review, and go and build up ideas or do some brainstorming, and then see, what if something seems a bit of a wild idea. Well, how can we make that more reality? The second point, which I think has emerged more recently, is to recognize we're in this for the long haul. Even if offices open again, there's a lot of evidence that there'll still be a need for social distancing. And so we need to really think about, so what's the new way of working that can enable us to be a cohesive, trusting team and work remotely.
Yeah.
And this does include sort of social interactions, you know, whether it's the virtual coffee break or perhaps playing for a short time some video games. So particularly where there's been new members of the team who've joined, say, only this year, they don't really know the rest of the team. And so it's absolutely crucial to really find opportunities of a more informal nature to be able to work together and understand each other and use each other's strengths. I mean, a third point,
lots of good points.
as a leader, is to ensure that your team are properly kitted out. If they work somewhere where they don't have their own dedicated space, have they got noise? It's simple things like noise cancelling headphones, or perhaps a tripod for a phone. You know, we're not talking spending a lot of money here, but just to make it actually easier to work remotely.
Yeah, to think and to adjust maybe simple points in relation to circumstances, or maybe some additional tools to make it a little bit more comfortable. And yeah, noise and right, light, for example, and something related to correct environment have a huge impact on the mood, on the productivity, efficiency, and yeah, to brainstorm with the team and don't be not being afraid of not knowing all the answers. And yeah, that's really nice, very good point, Jen. Thank you very much. Irene, what can you contribute into that topic? Where would you start?
Well, after having, for example, if I have to solve some problem, the best way to solve the problem is knowing all the details on all the nuances of this problem, and ask for help to the team eventually to gather the amount of information necessary to create a strategy to work in this situation better. And all the nuances means the financial situation, the political situation. For example, make it just a stupid example. Here in Italy, they told us that they have money, but they haven't. Instead, in Switzerland, they give you money in 2 hours and you have a direct connection with the bank or the financial minister. You can have all these things. Here in Italy, is literally impossible. So a person in Switzerland will act and respond to the situation in quite different way. And there people can have resources, here not. How can we work in this situation to have the best possible outcomes? This is a great challenge to discuss and cannot be done in a very effective way just from one person. Is needed collaboration. It's not using the I intelligence, instead using the we intelligence, the collective intelligence of the team.
Yeah, perfect. Perfect. That sounds like a powerful advice. All right. I think we right now, in a quite short period of time, I think I heard lots of really nice points, which probably I hope will give at least some hints, for people to consider. So leaders, taking care of, first of all, taking care of yourself and recover and find your right state, replenish your energy, so you will be able to make a really proper decisions. First of all, second, do not be afraid to share with the team to use the team, use we intelligence, as Irene, as you just mentioned. So there are lots of powerful, powerful strategies already here. And in terms of, if you would like to wrap up our conversation, then you just wanna summarize maybe, or give some advice to people who right now are listening. Jen, what would you say?
Don't forget your
We
sense of
complete our
humor.
talk today? Wow. Yeah, I almost personally forgot it. Our talk was very, very serious. Yeah, that's true. I mean, yeah, taking everything extremely seriously, and everything become black and white and tragedy, and which always there, of course, but nevertheless, humor helps. Humor relaxes us, and remembering on other side of life, it's not just about work, and there are other things here as well, which life is not just one particular thing. Okay, Irene, what would you say to wrap up our
I
conversation?
agree with Jen, but to just say something different, I can say celebrate any single moment you spend with your peer, and especially any single step forward. Celebrate.
Nice. Again, both advices, have fun when you can, or have sense of humor and use it, and at the same time celebrate, and all possible small wins. Yeah, and because people very often very harsh with themselves and demanding a lot, especially from ourselves, and having some kind of patience, and celebrate the small wins, it's extremely important. It's nourishing, it gives energy. Guys, thank you very much for today's
Thank you.
conversation. We
Bye.
have a good weekend in front of us, so have a nice weekend, and see you for next talks next week. Bye bye, Jen.
Bye.
Bye.
Irene. Bye, everyone.
Bye.